Hello and welcome. My name is Jonathan Steele, and I want to welcome you to my show, Could You Be More Specific? Coming to you through the Stay Woke podcast. And on this episode of Could You Be More Specific, I'm going to touch on friendship and opportunities, and how in the recent lights of what just happened with the Starbucks situation, with the $200,000 settlement, and also how that relates to what's going on actually with Kevin Hart's situation with his friend and the extortion case that's going on. So just go ahead and get into it now. In regards to the recent news of the Starbucks situation and the $200,000 settlement, I think what's really good about it is that you had two individuals that went through something really bad, but they were still mindful enough to think about other people, that they would rather have a situation where something's put into place to benefit other people than just themselves. I think that's a really good thing overall, because a lot of times, especially in our communities, when things usually happen, it's always been looked at as it sometimes being an individual thing, but it's viewed in a collective matter. But you don't really see too many people that go through really harsh times and they decide to take whatever happened to them personally and they actually extend that out to help others. So I commend those two men that they were mindful enough to think that. Now, I remember not too long ago when it was initially reported that was going to happen, a lot of people felt like, well, we shouldn't settle. And the thing is, no, you shouldn't settle. But the settlement isn't in the dollar value. The settlement is in the mentality. And the mentality should be is that, going forward, especially when it comes to how we do business with each other, is let's help build each other up. Let's help promote each other. And in regards to some of these establishments, like the ones that those particular gentlemen went into, there'll be no way that you'll ever know in the future that when you're going into a certain restaurant or a certain coffee shop, how a manager or how some of the employees that work there are going to behave. So I know that was something that I know when this initially happened, the CEO, because the CEO sits at the head of the table, is going to get the brunt of that. And but I do give those two men a lot of credit for being able to see past that and just thought like, hey, our intentions was to meet with a friend because we were looking to, one, just talk with each other in general, but they were looking to do business anyway. And the fact that, it got turned into what it ended up becoming, I don't think that these men were initially thinking that was going to happen. But I think the way that kind of then translates and relates to Kevin Hart from a friendship standpoint is for those two men in the Starbucks situation to still be mindful and thinking of that amongst each other. For Kevin Hart and his friend that ended up being the one that was, recently named in the suit of trying to extort him, these two individuals have been friends for, I think, roughly 15 years. And the idea that this man would, want to do that to him at that time, mindful, and I get it, some people will say, well, Kevin put himself in the situation of, well, if he didn't, like somebody was saying, hey, if he wasn't cheating on his wife, then there would be no extortion. And that very well could be true. But to say someone then deserves to be taken for their money, I think that's a bit of a stretch. And what's fascinating is that guy was willing to put his friendship on the line of that many years. I was just listening to a thing with listening to 5150, Corey Holcomb show, and he talked about the early years with them being together, that he knew this guy, and that the fact that when this guy ended up becoming a professional bowler, Kevin funded him. Kevin would give him money, and he has been known to look out for his friends. I know Corey Holcomb was saying on the show that most of his friends, like virtually all the friends that he has that rolls with him, he has them set up to own property, to have ownership in things, because he wants them to know what that's like, and he wants them to feel a sense of, it's a fishbowl idea if it's just me with the money around other people. But the fact that he was thinking like, no, I want my friends to do well around me. So the idea that guy would actually end up doing that, his name is Jonathan Todd Jackson, to put his friendship on the line with him was just, I don't understand it. Not understanding like saying that, of course people are jealous of other people and people are taking an opportunity to exploit that if they can, but just thinking like, hey, for the rest of his life, this guy's always going to be linked to doing something like that. Like, there'll be no way you can come back from trying to extort millions of dollars from somebody. Another thing I noticed that Corey Holcomb had said on that show that was interesting was, and I think his co-host Arlene said this, it was like he had booked commercials before, but it was a big Pepsi commercial that he ended up getting. It was another guy that actually booked it, but I guess Kevin pulled some strings, and then that guy ended up dropping out, and this guy got casted, and he made good money off the commercial. And it kind of goes back to, I remember hearing Alfonso Ribeiro talking about Will Smith and how he said that he wouldn't trade his friendship with Will Smith for a movie star career. And some people think he's crazy, but it's like, for the rest of his life being linked to him, he's going to be fine. Not to say he's going to be living off him, but the fact that they have a good relationship with each other just naturally enhances the fact that they're going to be okay. Like he's going to be good, and he's had a good career post, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and all that, is fine. But the way that ties to friendship and opportunities is every friendship you build with someone, it's an opportunity for good things to come from that. And you never know where it may come from, but there's always a chance, especially if it's a genuinely good relationship. And I think that's something that a lot of us don't understand. Like, you can end up still coming out ahead if you're just being a genuinely decent person to somebody, and though that energy and that relationship will end up feeding each other in other ways. That's just something that I was thinking about that, especially as more of the details continue to come out in regards to Kevin's situation, is how he was very hurt by it and very surprised. But what was even more interesting about Kevin, even when he had a recent story where he was on Hot 97, they were asking him about it. Well, not Hot 97. Take that back. He was actually doing an interview with Big Boy's Neighborhood, and he brought up a story where, like, hey, he gave $500,000 to the city of Philadelphia for computers for kids in schools, and then it turned out that the place ended up getting robbed, and they took all the stuff that he paid for to benefit kids. And, he didn't blame the city. Like, he was saying, like, hey, I can't be mad with the city or the people. You just had an unfortunate group of people that decided that they were bigger than the group. And that was very commendable to hear, because it's like, not too many people would say that. If they had gave that type of money, they'll probably, say, well, I'm no longer dealing with these people again. It's a waste of time and money. And they'll just, kind of just go away from that. But the fact that he had enough sense of a calm and hindsight to say, like, hey, I still want to help this city because I've benefited from being here. It speaks to his personality, and it speaks to really his character, actually. And it's probably why, he's going to continue to win in life. It's because he has the right kind of attitude that would suggest that he's going to continue to win in life. So those are just some of my thoughts in regards, especially with the Kevin Hart situation. I think the Starbucks situation, as they move forward, especially with the upcoming training that they're going to do, where they're going to be shutting down all the Starbucks to go through that. I still think that's going to be a tough go to try and retrain someone's natural tendencies of how they view people and how they go about assessing, who's a threat and who's not a threat. Clearly, that's how they felt about those two individuals in that scenario, because there's a lot of Starbucks situations where you see people walk in a lot and they don't pay for anything. And aesthetically, seeing two guys, two black guys sitting up there not paying for something is, I guess it's a little bit more jarring to somebody like that versus seeing two white guys. I've never understood that, especially when it comes down to the look thing. That's another thing that kind of still bothers me. I know I touched on that with the last episode about some of the perception, especially that black males have. People got to keep this in mind. It really does. Your skin color doesn't change. It doesn't matter what outfit you're wearing, whether you're wearing a suit or you're just wearing a regular t-shirt and jeans. You can't change skin tone. Kind of piggybacking off of that, I think that's something that I think moving forward that's going to be more interesting to kind of see going on with later, especially with more details as the Starbucks situation continues to unfold and grow. And I will be interested to see on the people that actually end up taking advantage of the money, of the $200,000, and going back to touch a light back on that. I think that's very important too, is for it to still be follow-up. I know a lot of times when these stories hit the news, we talk about for a while, and then sooner or later we'll check out, and then we'll decide to move on to the next story. So I hope they do a follow-up. Especially I hope that these two men continue to be proactive and active as they're moving forward just in their careers in general. I know they're going to still be linked to this story for a very long time. But, I think the best part of this story is the fact that these two guys stuck together, and they carried themselves very well in terms of having dignity in a situation where they could have easily been stripped of it. And until a large instance, they were very insulted and wrongfully treated. And a lot of times, for black males especially, it's like something negative like that can happen to you, and you just got to go with the flow because it's expected. And wasn't that more so the worst part of racism, is when something racist happens and you expect it and you're not even upset about it. You look at it as business as usual. And that's unfortunate what a lot of black men go through. Also black women. But in relation to this particular instance, that's what a lot of black men go through on a regular basis. So those are just some of my thoughts in regards to that. I'll probably touch more so on this Kevin Hart situation as it continues to unfold. I know the FBI is involved in that, so there's more details that are going to be coming out in regards to that. I know the guy's out on bond at the moment. I'll definitely be following up and doing some more information, more background on that. As far as with Starbucks situation, I'll definitely piggyback up on that. For future podcasts moving forward, I'm definitely going to continue to try and cover different topics, different things that are of interest, not just newsworthy in terms of what's, the most clicked about or talked about thing, but just things I think that are very, much needed to talk about moving forward too. And just also, giving you guys some more information about me so we can continue to have a conversation. I think that's important because I want to continue to talk with you guys and not at you. So those are just some of my thoughts that I have in regards to those situations. Thank you everyone that took the time out to listen to my show. I'm looking forward to doing more of these. I thank D and the Stay Woke podcast. Looking forward to us continuing to grow and doing more shows. Thank you for listening to Could You Be More Specific? My name is Jonathan Steele. Check me out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll be looking to hear from you guys soon.